Welcome to The Source with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry, and co-host Kobe Owens. News all across the nation. The Source. Stay in the loop in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Work together for change in the community. A call to action to find the resources. The Source, the latest in news.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Last week, we do apologize that we were not airing a live show that we usually do every week. Schedules got involved and we weren't able to do so. And there was some shootings of the following week before then, but those have been reported upon. This week, we are happy to report that there is none that we are aware of any shootings and no murders in the city. And I'm very grateful for that. And before I go into talking a little bit about some of the busts that they have and some updates, I do want to say that we got to keep saying it over and over again, how grateful we are as a community that while we have not got away from all violence, it is much better. It looks much better. It feels much better in the city of Wilmington than it has in a very, very long time.
It has. And I think, again, we started to see this shift when Chief Campos first came in, but now I think he has a little more free reign to really implement strategies.
A lot more free reign.
Implement strategies that are actually working for the community. Again, this is what happens when you have someone who is from the community be elevated to such a high position. They understand the mentality and the people here as well too. And I think we're seeing more officers on the street, but we're seeing them engage with the community to be more proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah, and matter of fact, I remember when he first got appointed, you were really singing the praises, but the blockage was that he had a mayor who knew all things and could do all things and told him how to do it, and he wasn't free to do the things that we thought he was going to be able to do. But now I'm imagining that he has the mayor who says, you know what, that's your expertise. We're going to let you handle that. Just make it happen. And then things are getting much better. And I even see a different attitude with the police officers. It seems like they are a little bit more relaxed in that they are buying into his system.
At least the ones that I've interacted with, they seem the morale's better. But again, of course, everyone's dealing with a bunch of stuff, but it seems like it's better.
Yeah. So hats off to you, Chief, and I hope and trust that you continue your success till we get to a place where there is no violence in the city of Wilmington, and we look forward to that day. But I'm very grateful for that. Now, I did see that there was some busts that occurred with some prescription drugs. That was one. I know there's some other things that may have happened, but what do you know about that?
Yeah, so I do know there's been a few busts throughout the city of Wilmington over these last 5-6 days, it seems like. I do know one was in my district where someone had 325.5 grams of crack cocaine. And then there was another one, I believe it was like 57 grams of prescription medicine that they were peddling out to the community. So again, busts like that, not only do you stop someone who's selling drugs into our community, you also are probably saving lives as well too.
Absolutely. And it's funny because, not funny, but it's interesting because it looks like they are handling the gun violence. And while they're in some downtime, they're combating some of the reasons for the gun violence. And I think this is really a great example to, we got our focus is not on just the street violence with the guns, but we're also focused on the drugs that are being brought into our community, as well as those who are selling. And I just hope the community, those of you who watch us every week, would not have sympathy for individuals who are busted. Because that happens sometimes, and people start feeling bad because his cousin and his auntie and his big uncle, whatever. But we really need to support our law enforcement as they're trying to really curb the crime in our community. And when I saw these busts this week, I said, wow, this is a good thing. This is a really good thing, and we need to talk about it, and we need to encourage the community not to fall prey to feeling sorry for our friends or whatever else who's finding themselves in there, because this same poison that is in our community, that's feeding our community, is what's causing some of this violence that's going on as well.
Yes, it is.
Now, the big story for us today is really this Redding Consortium group. I have a lot of mixed feelings on this, and I've had several people who I respect very highly who have had conversations with me, and I'm very careful in my comments, but I do have an opinion. And while the committee is large, some of the people on the committee I don't think really have a best interest for the city of Wilmington. Some of the people may not know the city of Wilmington that well, but they are very much an integral part of that committee. I did have an opportunity to go to some of the meetings just to get a feeling, just to hear, just to listen, see which route they're going. They came up with 3 recommendations. Now, this is going to shock some people, but I guess I can say it on my show first. I am not in agreement with any of them. Because whether it be the Metropolitan, whether it be the Brandywine and Red Clay, or the Northern Newcastle County. Now, people have asked me if you had to choose which of the 3 you would go with, and that's what you've been hearing in the public. I've shared that I'm more interested in the Newcastle County consolidated district, only because it puts them in one district. But then I'm against it because I feel that it will be too large. I also feel that there's no stomach for the state to vote on that being one and getting rid of three districts and the lawsuits that's going to come out of that and things of that nature. It'll be another 40 years before we can even revisit this. So I just don't agree with any of them. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So one, this, regardless of the name of this group, it has been in some form or iteration for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And just for full transparency, some of the people who are on the committee, it's chaired by Senator Tizzy Lockman and Matt Dinn, former Lieutenant Governor AG. People who are on it also are Ray Avery Jones, Aaron Bass, CEO of Eastside Charter, Councilwoman Maria Cabrera, Eric Butson, State Senator from Dover, Namdi Chukwucha from Wilmington, State Rep, Ayana Khan from Black Chamber of Commerce, Darrell Green, Superintendent of Red Clay, Tika Hartstock, a parent in Brandywine, Lisa Lawson, Superintendent of Brandywine, Stephanie Ingram, President of the Delaware State Education Association, Joe Jones, Superintendent of VOTEC, Maria Matos, CEO and President of LACC, Ray Fitzgerald, the chair of the Wilmington Community Advisory Council and also CEO and Executive Director of Wilmington Housing Authority, Jeffrey Mensers, the Superintendent of Colonial, Kendra Brown, Parent Representative, Tevron Williams from Coomba, Educator, Mayor John Carney, Simone Sylvester, Government Affairs, State Policy and Advocacy Manager for Christiana Care, Nara Joyner, Superintendent of Christina. There's one vacant position, the House Minority Caucus position. Jennifer Tompkins, President and CEO of Metropolitan Wilmington Urban League. Margie Waite Lopez, head of school at Los Aspiras Academy. And Danye Woods, assistant principal at Joe Johnson Elementary, the former
you just went through all of those individuals who own that committee. It's a very large committee.
Yes.
And what I said earlier is that I just don't think all have the special interests of Wilmington. There's a lot of special interest in that committee.
It is.
By itself.
Yes.
And I'm not going to demonize any person, but I want to keep it general. And I have not heard anything from the ministers of this city. On that committee. Yeah. I don't see anybody on that committee that represents some of these civic associations that are common people. If you're going to write a beautiful paper, you have a committee like you just named. You have a representation across the board that gives it some credibility because you got superintendents, you have the mayor, you have people who are part of the charter system. It's a great paper. Yeah. You will be able to really produce a nice document. But really dealing with the heart of what is going on and the suffering that is happening in there. And I see Ray Avery is on there, who I think is really a good representative. But there are others too. I'm not just giving her the only credit. But I just don't feel that they get it.
Yeah.
Thank you for reading off all those names. And I hope that maybe we can capture those names on our show, on the screen. But Kobe, our young people for 40 years, 50 years, have been suffering, and there's been a lot of conversations. Wilmington children have been overlooked for a very long time. Something has to be done now. All three of these recommendations, what it's really going to do is calls for further discussion.
Yeah.
And our children are going to go further in the hole. What is wrong? Now, here's a little preacher not from Wilmington, so I'm not trying to say put me on the committee, but I'm just saying, what is wrong with changing that school, what's that school over there in your district?
P.S. DuPont.
P.S. DuPont. At one point, P.S. DuPont was a high school.
Correct.
It changed to a middle school.
Mm-hmm.
It will take about a good year or 2 years to reformat it to become a high school.
Correct.
What's wrong with using one or two of our elementary schools to stay where it is and as what it is? What's wrong with even the middle school? Even if we had to take Howard out of that district and make Howard the high school or middle school, whatever you want to do. What's wrong? And you gotta help me because you're more versed in this than I. What's wrong with saying we want one district in Wilmington and it's called Wilmington School District? Now, people will argue with me and they will say, Curry, do you know the tax base in Wilmington? No. I mean, yes, I do. That's why I say, tell the state board we want funding matched.
Mm-hmm.
Use the dollars here, but match those funds like you would do in a Brandywine, like you would do in a Red Clay, so that the resources will be in these schools in Wilmington, and we have a Wilmington school board who will hold them accountable for the specific needs of Wilmington students.
Mm-hmm.
We can get that done in 2 years.
We could. So one, any school district would probably need more than one high school.
Mm-hmm.
So you do have PS, which is a former high school. And then you also have the old Wilmington High School, which is currently Wilmington Charter and Cab Calloway combined, that are both in city boundaries that could be retrofitted to be high schools within.
Do you think Wilmington, oh my Lord, you just opened up a can of worms. That's why I named them. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
If we were to do a Wilmington school district. Now, this is not my argument. This is the argument that multiple state governments have said under different governors. The Wilmington tax base would not be able to sustain a Wilmington school district. That is fine. I get that. You are correct. It would not be able to sustain a Wilmington school district. But the state would pay the difference.
That's what.
How do I know this? Because you do it in Woodbridge, you do it in Seaford, you do it in Milford, you do it in all these other school districts already throughout the city or throughout the state of Delaware. Mm-hmm. So Wilmington would be no different. Now, would you have to kick in more money? Yes, because we have more kids here than down there. Mm-hmm. But
they are worth it.
Right. If you was to do a Wilmington school district, you could probably do a full Western Sussex school district, and we would still have more kids in our school district than down there. So again, you could do it if you had the will, but they also don't have the political grit to get that done. So now we have these three proposals. The Metropolitan, which would be the combined of both Red Clay and Brandywine. Mm-hmm. The split, which would take it down to 2, which would cut the city in half. Red Clay on one side, Brandywine on one side. At the end of the day, Colonial and Christina are out the school, right? Out of Wilmington.
Yeah.
Or the northern Newcastle one, which seems to be the one that everyone's pushing for right now, mm-hmm. which would take the 4 out of the 5 school districts here in Newcastle County and combine them all. And then you'll have a separate Apple school district. You'll have Brandywine, Colonial, Christina, and Red Clay all combined to form one huge, vast majority of the county school district. Mm-hmm. So, again, that's going to take a lot of money as well, too. Now, I've gone back and forth because, yes, I represent the city of Wilmington, but also I've been involved with this fight from the NAACP side of it. And the lack of funding for minority students isn't just in the city of Wilmington. Mm-hmm. It's on Route 9. It's in other communities. So the Northern Newcastle Consolidated District would be the best to address all of that. but you would need a superintendent who understands the struggles of the communities that have been long ignored to be that superintendent. The only issue with the northern Newcastle County School District is you're now going to be selecting school board members with Hockessin voting for who represents Wilmington, with Claymont voting on who represents Wilmington, with Route 9 voting on who represents Wilmington. If they are to do this, they should change how school board is elected, and only people in nominating districts will be able to elect their representative.
Yeah, but it's bigger than that, Kobe. I'm tired of the conversations. I want to speak clear language on this show today. I'm tired of the conversations, and there are many people in our community who are tired of the conversations. If we go with the Northern Newcastle County Consolidated School District, we will have this conversation for the next 30 years. Because number one, the state Senate is not going to stomach voting to get rid of those districts. Number two, Brandywine is where all your folks got money. You think they're going to get rid of their school districts, their school district, and give it over to a general big board? It ain't going to happen. That will get stuck in litigation for the next 10 years while our children will still be suffering. I'm not for that. I heard you. You did a very good job with saying how it's the best of the options. But even the best of the options won't happen for the next 30 years because it will be lawsuit after lawsuit. It will be discussion after discussion, and people will put the pressure on their state legislators who have to vote on this after it's taken to the state school board, and they will never get this passed. And then we go back to the drawing board. Why not leave the meeting saying we want a Wilmington school district? I guarantee you we can do it in 2 years. Why wasn't that even discussed?
That's a very good question. I have no
And I'm going to go back to this then. And very seldom I catch you without the words. Sorry about the seriousness of it. That means I must be good at what I do. If I quote Kobe Owens without any words.
No, but I mean, you're right? Again, I know that they've been meeting for years. Yeah. They've gotten 2 or 3 extensions at this point. I don't know why a Wilmington school district wasn't proposed.
Well, I'm going to tell you the answer they gave. When I asked that question, when people have asked that question, because the tax base is so low, it would not satisfy the needs of the city. Listen to me. For those of you who are watching, the state board gives us, the state of Delaware gives a certain amount of money to the state, to the districts anyway. So I'm saying subsidize it to make sure that our children get what they need so that we'll be able to handle it. We don't want to hear that argument no more, that the tax base is too low. Well, subsidize it, okay? So that we will be able to take care of our children. We got 2 schools here. We got 3 schools here that can be transformed within 2 years. I'm not going to talk about Wilmington. What's the name of it? Wilmington Charter. Wilmington Charter, because isn't it a charter school now?
It's a charter school that operates under the Red Clay School District. So both charter and CAB operate as schools in that school district. Even though they have their own operating board, they still get all their permissions from there. The building is owned by Red Clay.
So the question becomes, let them 2 stay, because they're doing very well, those 2 schools, okay? Let's try to be nice. That's what I want to do. What's wrong with taking Howard to be our tech school for high school and that middle school? I always cannot get the name of the middle school right.
P.S.
DuPont.
So here's my thought. So Howard used to be a public high school.
I know, yes.
And now is a VOTEC. I believe it should stay VOTEC and stay under the VOTEC system in that network there. Because it does offer so many benefits, and that hasn't been an issue. When we look at who owns the building, that's VOTEC owns that. They're not going to sell that, right?
They'll sell it if see, let me tell you something, but hold your thought and please don't forget it. But see, that's the only thing, and Curry said this, and don't y'all tell nobody else. That's the only thing I like about Donald Trump. Y'all are so scary. This is the state of Delaware. And take it, let them sue you, win the lawsuit, lose it, it's still our building. And that's where Donald Trump is winning.
Well, here's my thinking on this. Before we would get to vote taking Howard, I would suggest going after the Bryce Bridge, which last year, before any of the new council members got onto council, city council and Mayor Pazicki gave them $10 million to become an education hub. Red Clay currently, if we were to do a Wilmington school district and Red Clay would leave the city of Wilmington, they wouldn't be able to have that building in the city. So they would have to move Wilmington Charter and CAB into one of their buildings out there. Now, they're already having issues with AI DuPont High School with enrollment numbers. So you can move it there, or you can move it to McKean or Dickerson to kind of reconfigure things, right? They also have satellite schools, DMAs under them, as well as Conrad School of Science, right? I forget what that one's considered. It's not a charter, but so they would have to find space outside the city of Wilmington. Brandywine would have to find space outside the city of Wilmington to move the individuals in their IB program who come into PS DuPont. So that's why those two options would be the best. Votech would still operate in the city of Wilmington, so they would still be able to keep a building in.
And I have no problem with that because it's a high school. Okay, we can buy into that. But what we cannot buy into is another 20 years of talking.
Correct.
I'm saying, okay, so what is your objection with turning DuPont into a high school again?
I have none. I think, if anything, again, they would have to go in and retrofit it a little bit for bigger kids. But that could be a process that could be completed in a summer.
Yeah, right. I say 2 years because you know how y'all like to move slow.
I don't know if you got to CPS before they did the renovations, maybe about 7-8 years ago now. But those renovations took 1 year. And when I say they gutted that place, they gutted that place and it looks amazing now. So if it's just changing the size of the desks, the locker size and everything, getting rid of the cubbies, I don't even think that needs to be done. It does not take long to do.
All right, so we got to have to take a commercial break because we're way past our time. But I want to say, I'm coming back to this because I'm not letting this go. This committee is they're trying to do a good job. Yeah. I'm not criticizing the committee. I am criticizing the fact that we can't talk no more. We've been talking too long, and I can't see a path forward with any of the three. The legislators are not going to approve any of the three. Then we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. And I know the governor and the mayor and many others are in support of the Northern Newcastle County, and that's the one that I know they're not gonna get any support from. Yeah. I can agree with it, but who is going to vote past the state board for this? The influence of the governor's office, the influence of the mayor's office stops at the state board level. Who's going to tell the Brandywine state senator, or not state senator, representative, whoever votes for this, you better not vote for this?
Yeah.
But I know who's going to tell them they better not vote for it, and that's the people in their district.
Yep.
So we gotta, and nobody pays attention to this part of it. I am not happy. I think that this is a good exercise. I think if we're going to write a good paper, we had the right committee to write that paper, that white paper, so that everybody can talk about, how wonderful and how strong the group is, and the people they had on the group, and the representation they had. But the people who are on the grounds, they're saying we need a school district in Wilmington. People on the grounds are saying the state can fund it. They fund everything else. We can find the ways, and we can get this done in 2 years. And I think because of people like me working on the committee, because they know that I'll be too loud, they need to put more people on the committee who are from the ground roots, so that they understand our children deserve not to have to get up 6 o'clock in the morning just to get to school by 9. Yep. Our children deserve getting quality teachers. And there's some moves that the city council is making now that will help this project of having, because y'all are saying you move into the city, we'll give you a certain amount of money off your house or that you're buying, the property you're buying. It will bring back that community that we've been so begging for. I believe that we can do better I think we're going to have to, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this at the end of the show because we're going to come back with the Kobe Corner, and then I'm going to be just as hot when I come back. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Pastor and People's 20th anniversary is right around the corner, and everybody's talking about it. Now we've got even more to announce. So here's a sneak peek at our 5 electric guest preachers coming here to E. Zion Fair this December.
You need to understand that when you counted me out, you didn't know that I was a part of what God is building in the earth. You might not think I'm much, but I'm a bad man. All Jesus had to say was, peace be still. And order was restored. Do you know we serve a God who's able to restore order on tonight? And if he can do it in the universe, he can do it in this country. If he can do it on the universe, he can do it in our communities. He does it as we declare the word. That's why some of y'all act a fool in church and run around and sweat because folk don't know your then. They just see you in your now. And they got the nerve to be jealous of your now. They got the nerve to hate on you now. But you can't want my now if you didn't have my then.
There's a reason that you are still breathing. So bring God your brokenness. Bring God your emptiness. Bring God your worries. Bring God your wounds. Bring God your fears. Trust God to work things out because God is up to something in your life. Glory to God. It is the picture of the providence of God. Somebody say providence. 2 words that come together. Pro-video in the Latin. Pro-video. It literally means that God goes ahead of us, sees before us, and works out everything we need. So by the time we get there, all we can say is, all things work together for the good of those who love God. That'll call according to his paper.
So join us December 1st through 6th for our sermon series. And get ready to look your finest for our Black Tie Gala on December 7th at the Chase Center. Buy your ticket today in the lobby and online by scanning our QR code or visiting our Eventbrite page. And if you are interested in a payment plan, please see Deaconess Benson or Sister Love in the lobby today. See you there, E. Zion Fair.
And we're back. I know that we normally go to Kobe's Corner, but this issue is really it's personal, and I can't let it go, Kobe. So we're gonna come to your corner last. Can we? I left off by talking about how even city council starting to set things up, not thinking that it would be for can be used in support of a woman to school district, but you even got some bills that's trying to go through. Tell me a little bit about that.
So my one bill that is now, the application is officially open, now that it's passed, is it gives mortgage assistance to educators, well, anyone who works in a Wilmington-based school, public charter. What that means is you get up to $15,000 down payment and settlement costs assistance to buy a home in the city of Wilmington. Why is that important? Because I also working on legislation for new build. And what that means is as we start looking at new areas in the city of Wilmington, and there's been housing proposals pop up everywhere, requiring a certain amount to be for workforce housing, right? Which means now we're keeping it affordable. So in the vast majority of the city of Wilmington, affordable is about $250,000, $240,000, $250,000, right? If we are able to give you that $15,000 down payment, and then you can also stack that with a state program and the funds that they offer for being a state employee as well too, you pretty much have to put $0 out of pocket, or maybe a few thousand out of pocket instead of a $25,000 lump sum to now buy a house, start building equity. So while we can't do anything about the school, like how they're paid in the schools, what curriculum's being taught, as a city council, as of right now, we don't have that power. We can help recruit some of the best teachers here. And that's one of the things I've heard when talking to my district is I have teachers. My district was always made up of state employees, city employees, county employees. I have a ton of retired teachers who are now, reaching that age where, okay, they don't want to go upstairs, so they're moving out to get a rancher or something like that, moving into a high rise. So now these are becoming rental properties. So this was part of my reason to wanting to change that. The first district has always been a hub for educators, right? How do we bring that back? Well, these houses are unattainable for them. But when you have that sense of community growing up, it helps you not only seeing your teacher in the classroom, that's you. All right, I got the answer, right? But seeing them on the street, you start building a different respect and a
That's
different.
right.
You see
That's
them in a
right.
different light, right? You start acting better in the classroom.
Mhm.
Now you're not getting in trouble as much because they live on the same block as me. They know my parents.
There
It's
you
not
go.
just
There you go.
my parents get invited to come every 4 or 5 months
Mhm.
for one back to school night where the teacher's overwhelmed.
Mhm.
No, they can talk to my parents at any time. And we've seen that with the teachers who do live in the first district, who teach at PS, at Harlan, at one of the charter schools right now. Their bond with the students that live in the neighborhood is completely different from the
That's right.
teachers who are coming in from Hocus, teachers who are coming in from other places, Bear and stuff like that. So again, it's all about rebuilding that community. And the way you look at it all, right? How they did DSEG and breaking up the Wilmington School District, dividing the city in half with 95. All this has broken the city of Wilmington to make it what it is right now. And I joke all the time and say, I represent Northside, but for real, some people are in the mentality that I can't go over West Side. I can't go over Riverside or East Side, right?
Mhm.
Because that's a completely different community over there.
Mhm.
We would be a neighborhood in New York. Maybe like a slither of Philly.
Mhm.
We're less than 80,000 people. We shouldn't be this divided in
Right.
this
Well,
mindset.
it was designed that way, and I heard you talking about the various things when they started breaking this down and going north and south. But Kobe, I think the new sermon has to be Wilmington School District. And then when they bring up the tax base, we have to be able to say the state funds
Mhm.
already a lot of, like you. I didn't know the information on Lower Delaware, how they fund some of those school districts. Our children, and I want to look in the camera, and I want to look at you, mom, you, dad, you, grandmom. The murders, the violence that we are suffering is because of the lack of education. This is what I believe. I'm an educator. All of my degrees, except for 2, are in education. When Kobe talked about a few minutes ago how the teachers who are living in the community have a better connection with the children, I know that because I'm from the heart of North Philadelphia, where our teachers were from our community and they produced the greatest. There's an invested love that people who live in a community have for their own. I hope you will begin to raise your voice, not only to your state legislators, because I think they're working towards something better, but telling people that these 3 items is not going to happen. We're wasting our time. They've been having meeting after meeting, year after year. They've been meeting, Wilmington school districts, Wilmington children, for 40 years, and nothing has happened. In 2 years, and that's being liberal. You can do it in a year. But in 2 years, we can have a Wilmington school district. We can have it fully housed, fitted out, if the state will take a commitment that I'm going to move forward to make sure that it has the proper funding, and we will use the tax base as a part of the funding, but not all of the funding. And we're going to make sure that we have at least 2 high schools in this city, the elementary schools as well, and those buildings that are owned by school districts, we'll fight that out through the courts. That's a different fight. But when you start talking about you're going to change somebody's boards and things of that nature, that's a fight that I don't think we're going to win. So let's try to do something that is common. And I know, and to our governor, whom I respect very highly, I've had a conversation even with him saying that I think that the best of the 3 would be the northern Newcastle County. That's the best of the 3. I don't like none of them. I think all of them have to go. We have to focus on Wilmington. We have to focus on the issues of Wilmington's children who have been so far left behind that they are not reading where they need to be. They're not, I'm not saying all children, but most of them, they are not learning as they needed to learn, not because it's a fault of themselves, but it's really because we have left them behind. This has to stop, and I think we got to find a way, and I think I got an answer. Wilmington School District, its own board, city, and they report to city council and the mayor's office so that we can hold them accountable, and within a 5-year turnaround, I guarantee you'll see test scores going up. I guarantee you'll start seeing a different community. I guarantee you'll see violence going down. And you may say, well, already we got violence, this, that. Listen, when the focus is shifted, it will change behavior.
Mhm.
It's about ethos, ETHOS. That means culture. If we change the culture to a caring culture, I guarantee you things will change. We see it even with the violence in the city right now by having the old mayor booted out with the new mayor, and he's giving the police department an opportunity to do what they know how to do. It can happen. I'm sorry that I had to do that commentary right there, but I'm just not happy that we keep talking. I've been here for 20 years. I'm celebrating 20 years, Kobe. I hope you come into the gala.
Yes,
but,
I'll be there.
but I'm celebrating 20 years, and that's what we talked about when I first got here, and they're still talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, stop talking. Be about it.
No, I agree with you. And again, you have people who are tired.
Yeah.
People who have been fighting for this. People who have now seen what they said 20 years ago, what would happen if you didn't do anything 20 years ago, are seeing that happen. And that's one of those people is Miss Ray Avery Jones,
Yeah.
who I know has been on the front line of this. I know she's tired, but she's still fighting. You need the people in power, right? Not just the people with influence, but the people who make that yes or no vote to have the will. And right now, I just don't see it.
Let me say it again. Just to back up what you said, you're the politician. They can't vote for me. I'm all right at ease, I and fair. Metropolitan Wilmington School District, the option is consolidate Brandywine, Red Clay School District into one, adding in the entire city. It ain't gonna happen. It could be the best concept in the world. It's not going to happen because they're not going to consolidate, and there will be more lawsuits than you want. And you got to keep your eye on Brandywine if you don't keep your eye anywhere else. Because Brandywine is going to just sue you until they can't sue you no more, and they got the money to keep doing it.
And I just want to be very clear. Brandywine had a school board election. And this is the first time in a very long time we have no African-American representation on the Brandywine School District. Now, there was someone who stepped down from the school board who was African-American, and her replacement was a white attorney. And then in this last school board election, the city of Wilmington overwhelmingly voted for someone who looked like them, who represented them. But it was the outside part of the city of Wilmington, in Brandywine, the county part, that elected him. So again, that's what we're dealing with right now.
The second option, Brandywine and Red Clay. Listen, it's a similar situation, but there will be a split. There you go, dividing the city again. You divided the city. You know, I'm from the north side. I'm from the west side. No. It's one city with a concentrated effort. And then the last one, hey, pull them all together, make one school district, and we'll be fine. No, because whenever you get a large district like that, the city of Wilmington will still be neglected. You still would have to put them on buses and send them all over the place. They still would have to get up 5 o'clock in the morning to be able to get to school by 9. I am tired of it. Let's make it where they can walk to school. Kobe, I don't know, you may not be old enough. Sometimes I got to pay attention that you're not as old as I think you are. But I remember I used to go to, I was raised at 23rd and Diamond, okay? It's 3 miles from Strawberry Mansion, okay, junior high school. When I left William Dick, which is right across the street from my house, okay, that's the 24th and Diamond.
Okay.
Now, when I went to Strawberry Mansion for junior and senior high school, that was 3 miles away. We didn't have buses then. We had to walk. And you know what? It built character. And it was only, it wasn't like it was a bad walk, but the point is, we had to walk and we had to do what we had to do. It was a community. I just think neither of these three is going to work, Kobe. So
no, and I agree with you on that. I will say I went to Sally's for high school, which is maybe about 12 blocks from my house.
That's 1 mile.
I think I can count on my hands how many times I walked home. So yes, I will enjoy that privilege.
Wait. You was driven to
Absolutely,
Sally's?
until I could drive myself. Yes.
Great for your mother, but no. I tell my daughter every time I pick her up, I said, this did not happen for me. You mean 12 blocks? That's 1 mile and a quarter. And you, great mom you had. Great mom.
Love her to death.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and I guarantee you we're going to bring this back, not so much after the break, but we're going to bring this back until we get to somebody listening to us. And I hope you all will buy into this and start writing to your senator, your state senator, your legislators, as well as the governor and the mayor's office, saying, look, we got to get a Wilmington thing going because nothing will be stomached. None of the three. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
It's gonna be real good.
Zion Fair is hosting its most extravagant celebration yet. Join us on December 7th for the Pastor and People's 20th Anniversary Black Tie Gala event. Be ready to move, because our special guests are bringing the music and soul that'll get you jumping out of your seats. You're not going to want to miss these 3 musical giants. Welcoming the illustrious voice of Kiera Clark Sheard. The incomparable piano talents of Twinkie Clark. And the majestic music of Karen Clark Sheard. Don't miss this rare opportunity to hear these gospel legends perform. So be there at the Chase Center at 7 p.m. on December 7th. Get your tickets in the lobby after service, at the front office during the week, or anytime online on our Eventbrite page. And don't forget to ask about our layaway plan.
I'm Naheem Hines, professional football player and proud supporter of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. My mom was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy when I was 14, and I watched her struggle. But MDA helped her get the best treatments and care, and they also help kids like my buddy Ethan.
My name is Ethan. Thanks to the Muscular Dystrophy Association and people like you, I have more hope than ever before. From day one, they've treated me like family at my local care center. MDA is the only one that funds over 150 care centers across the U.S. to help provide state-of-the-art care for adults and kids like me.
MDA has been transforming the lives of people living with muscular dystrophy, ALS, and other related neuromuscular diseases. They fund the research for breakthrough treatments, care, and cures. And MDA provides support to thousands of families like mine and Ethan's in communities like yours. Thanks to MDA, kids and adults can live life to its fullest. Join us and learn more at mda.org today.
This land is your land.
This land we love belongs to all of us. Yet not everyone is treated equally. Right now, millions of Americans are fighting for the things promised to all by the Constitution. Learn how the ACLU is defending the right to vote, free speech, and other civil liberties at myaclu.org.
And we're back. Kobe, what's going on with the Kobe Corner?
Well, first, I want to start with the longest government shutdown has officially ended. It lasted 43 days. In that time, you saw federal employees not get paid. You saw SNAP benefits not be issued. And you saw Democratic governors step up, including our own Governor Matt Myers, come up with different proposals, find the money to try to help as many people as possible during that time. But it also leaves a lot of questions on what does this mean? Where are we going from here? And what really happened? So again, the shutdown was because Democrats did not want to give their votes to passing this resolution, continuing resolution, because they believed that the Republicans were going to end the tax subsidies for Obamacare,
Right.
the ACA. And that is something that they are still pushing for. Unfortunately, Chuck Schumer and some of the members of the Democratic Senate flipped and gave their votes because they had a handshake agreement that there will be a standalone vote on extending the ACA tax credits, the Obamacare tax credits, for 1 year.
A standalone vote without a guarantee that the standalone vote would pass.
Correct.
Mm.
Without a guarantee that that will pass the House.
Mhm.
Why do I say that? You had an agreement with the Republicans. So yeah, they can give you the additional votes you need with your Democratic colleagues to get it past the Senate. But in the House, Mike Johnson's in charge.
Mhm.
And he has already said he's not pinning that that is a non-starter, he said, his exact words, non-starter, because he does not believe in it. And it has been his mission to orchestrate how to completely rid us of the ACA and kick all those people off their health care benefits. And again, at the end, this shutdown ended without those healthcare extensions. So again, I hope that they all show good faith and they actually follow through, but I highly doubt it. But another shutdown could be triggered starting January 30th. That's the continuing resolution only goes until then. But again, it has some carve outs for SNAP, benefits that target women, infant, and children, or WIC, in the Department of Veteran Affairs in Congress. So that means those programs are supposed to be funded until September 2026. So we won't be in the same situation where people won't get their SNAP benefits if we go into another shutdown.
You said in Congress too?
Yes.
So that means they get their check?
Oh, of course.
Oh, that's inappropriate.
Oh, of course. They weren't going to vote to not pay themselves. That actually was the first line in there before veterans, before WIC, before SNAP. They made sure they get their paycheck. And if that part wasn't in there, I guarantee you this wouldn't have passed. So again, there's also money in there to increase security for members of Congress as well too. Executive branch officials, judges, and Supreme Court justices. Now, why I think they could use that money for other things, I do agree. It has become a more hostile environment for both Democrats and Republicans out there. And even though I may not agree with someone, I don't want to see someone hurt. I want to see them lose their seat, but I don't want to see them hurt. So this is where we're at right now as a government, right? We are open and fully open until January 30th. We have SNAP, WIC, veteran benefits until September 2026. They have until the end of January to work on these deals, or we will probably go back into a shutdown. And to be honest, I could see this one lasting a very long time. Of course, there's other benefits that will be impacted by that as well too. Another thing, airports are now allowing flights that were canceled to be reissued. FAA had requested that major airlines cut a quarter to 30% of their flights leading into the busiest travel time of the year. They are now reopening some of those flights. People have been issued some refunds. If not, your flight has been restored. So that's where we're at right now with the government shutdown. Again, there's been a lot of drama around this. And as we follow some of the fallout as well too, we will see. But now that they're officially back to work, and for the first time in over 2 months, the House took a vote. There was a new member sworn in, finally. Which led to the 218th signature needed for the discharge petition to happen for the Epstein files. That had a lot of drama behind it as well too. But then all of a sudden the vote was going to happen no matter what. The night before, well, hours before the vote, Trump tweeted out, "Well, vote it out." So in a vote of 247 to 1.
No, 427.
27, sorry. To 1, it was voted out of committee. We're out of the House. The Senate has also passed it overwhelmingly with just a voice vote. They didn't even do a roll call. It's just no one objected to it passing with consent. So again, Trump said he will sign it and will release everything.
And he did sign it last night.
He did sign it? Okay.
But he's not going to release everything.
He's going to release what he wants to be released.
And that's why he called for that investigation, so he can do that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you
off. So again, that's where we're at with the Epstein files, which finally ended with Representative Gravella being sworn into her father's old seat. Moving back to Delaware. So Delaware had the governor call a extraordinary session to decouple our tax code from the federal code. And again, this is something that states have the ability to do. But the federal changes of the big, beautiful bill that was really ugly allowed for a ton of tax breaks for research and development expenditures. It allowed for, it would have hurt Delaware, right? It would have cost us almost $400 million in over the next 3 years. Um, so the Delaware General Assembly met to discuss how can they kind of stop this. And the tax breaks provision for businesses would automatically apply to Delaware. So they decided that the best step would to be decoupling us from that federal so that we can still tax that type of stuff, so that we still have that revenue coming in to the state of Delaware. This will help us with addressing some of that budget shortfall that we will see. We'll see about $180 million in the first year alone. This will bring back maybe about 160 of it. So it brings back a good portion.
Yeah.
It still will be some a little wiggle room that we have to make up for. But this is, again, I think, something that we have not seen in a very long time, Delaware having to do. This is the second time they have had to come in for a special session during this time, outside of just doing like government appointments for the Senate side. So again, it's been a very busy legislative session. I know the Republicans made a big stink about, for the special session, the House allowed for virtual voting, which means you have to be on the Zoom like they did during the pandemic. But for the individuals who have pre-planned trips, because again, the General Assembly goes out July 1. From July 1 to January, they are technically off of work. Now, you should still be doing your regular like community meetings and stuff like that, but there's no voting. So people plan their travel around that time. So people who had pre-planned travel plans were out of the state of Delaware. But in order for them to be able to participate in this, they allowed for virtual voting only for special session to the end of the year, in case they have to come back in again. And who knows, they may have to be sent back out or called back into session before the end of this year due to the reassessment again. This is a lot going on right now that's keeping them going into session. That's why this is set up this way. Newcastle County as well is working on their assessment stuff as the General Assembly is working on their special committee. So if there are recommendations that need to be voted on, they'll be called back into session. But the decoupling bill has passed. It has been signed. And that was sponsored by Representative Carrie Evelyn Harris and Senator Brian Townsend. HB 255 is officially signed into law. Next, I just wanted to talk on the 14th. We celebrated as the Louisiana, the 75 years since the school desegregated, 4 years before Brown versus Board of Education. It's actually the same day Ruby Bridges walked into her school as well, too. We have 5 African-American males here in the city of Wilmington from different schools in the area, a few from Howard, go into Sally's and join the Salesian Brotherhood. We had an opportunity to hear from James Owens, class of 53. No relation to me, but he is the last surviving one. Fred Smith passed away at the end of 2023. When I was a senior, Willie Jones passed away. And I got to attend that funeral and speak at that funeral as the president of the Black Student Union. We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. And I know I wanted to bring this up because we talked about the Reading Consortium earlier. They talked about how it was actually, once DSEG happened, and they looked back, they were glad that they were able to walk to their school. And how they faced some racism, but they also were welcomed in. And one of the stories that always sticks with me, mind you, when I chose Sally, I didn't even know Salesianum. I didn't even know this history. On the very first day, I made a friend named Vincent Repicelli. Now, we had competed against each other in middle school and everything, but we were in some of the same classes. We became good friends. I was in his wedding and everything. Our senior year, we find out that the very first person to welcome Willie Jones and James Owens was Vince's grandfather.
Oh, wow.
And he was an athlete. He was a football player who got in trouble for beating up white kids who said the N-word or messed with them during their first year there. And those three became very close friends during their 4 years at Sally's. And then after they graduated, they stayed in touch until they started passing away. Neither one of us knew this.
All right.
And we're sitting there because I'm speaking on behalf of the Black Student Union. We're not even talking. He's speaking on behalf of his family because they have a picture that they're going to present. And I'm like, what you doing up here? So again, that bond is just something that's magical. But again, Delaware has to get it right.
Yeah.
Because we have not had that blend everywhere. And I think we talked about it perfectly earlier in the show about the need to bring back that unity here in the city of Wilmington and what we have to do as a people to get that here. And my last update before the end of this show today is just, again, Wilmington City Council updates. As we come to the end of our first year, we just have a few pieces of legislation, but there's one that really concerned me, which is the appointments that Mayor Carney is making to the Wilmington Parking Board. 4 out of the 5 of them I have no issue with. I think they're great people. I think they would be great on them. But one of them is Mike Pizicki.
No.
And they're saying because he's a developer, he knows and understands parking and everything. All I'm saying is under this man, who is a developer, we saw the highest rent increases in the whole East Coast. He made this city unaffordable for so many residents who currently live here right now. I don't need that to happen to our parking.
Right.
So again, I'm asking the community to come out December the 5th or 4th and say no to Mike Pizicki.
Yeah. You know, I sometimes you gotta let things just lay where they are.
Yeah.
We had 8 years of that guy. And that guy was not a nice person. He was a little Donald Trump. And he created some major problems because he was not always a Democrat, number one. And we allowed him to come into the Democratic Party so he can run for mayor. I hope that when the community come out, they speak out. That's what I hope. I hope that. Kobe, we've had a really good show today, and we don't have any more time. But I do want to end our show the way we kind of like started it by talking. Well, first I want to congratulate Chief Campos for doing a very good job, but the school district situation that's going on, the Reading Consortium, they are a good group of individuals, and I hope and trust that they will come to the conclusion, as we have come to the conclusion, that Wilmington children matter. They really do, and they're worth the investment.
Yes.
If the largest city in the state of Delaware is to survive, it's going to have to be done because we have invested in its education. Our young people deserve to be educated. Our young people deserve to be loved. Our young people deserve to be seen. Those things are not happening. And I'm not saying they're not loved by their parents. I'm saying by the people who represent them. So what I hope and trust is that they will say, you know what, let's give Wilmington its own. Let red clay be red clay. Let Brandywine be Brandywine. Let what's that one that's so horrible that I can't even say the name?
Christina.
Oh, you said it. Let them be them. But give Wilmington its own. Give us 2 years to fit out what we got to fit out. Give us 5 years to show you what we're working with. And I guarantee you, Wilmington will be on a trajectory unlike any before. And people across the country will come and look at our model and say, look at what Wilmington did. I believe that. Anything else from you today, Kobe?
That's all I have today.
Well, I thank you so very much for tuning in today, and we will look forward to having the same type of discussion on next week because we're going to keep talking about it. If there's nothing else, I just want you to be blessed and highly favored. God bless.
Take care, y'all.
You've been watching The Sword with host Dr. C.T. Curry and co-host Kobe Owens. Tune in every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes.